Welcome to AutismSpa.com. I am your host, Shahriar Afshar, and the Executive Director of the Autism Society of San Diego, our sponsor for today's program. Today, we're joined by one of our esteemed board members, one of our fellow autism dads, Dustin Tracy. He is a certified financial planner and is here today to really talk about plan giving. Plan giving is so important in the nonprofit world, and especially in the changes that we really want to see for our community here in the Autism Society of San Diego, that it can't be more important. We already have amazing family foundations around us that help us, individual donors, every little bit helps. We're able to deliver life-changing, sometimes life-saving with our water safety programs to our community. People drive from all over the region to come to our events. They're usually sold out. We're doing the best we can with the resources that we have. But plan giving and the big donations and the philanthropic minds of our region is the lifeblood of organizations like us. They really make a difference. And today's program is dedicated really to all of you that have helped us get to where we are today. We appreciate it. We love it. We also appreciate those big checks on cardboards that sometimes we take photo ops with. Those are great. But today, Dustin's here to talk about plan giving and the programs that we have on how to make it easy for you and your organization and your philanthropic interests to help us grow and really make a transformative impact in our region. So with that, Dustin, welcome. Good to see you again. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you not only come to join the Autism Society, but become a financial planner? And then we'll get to plan giving in a minute.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Shahriar. I really appreciate you inviting me on the show today, and look forward to covering a very important topic for nonprofits in general and really Autism Society specifically, which is plan giving. My name is Dustin Tracy. I've been with UBS for about 19 years as a certified financial planner. I'm also a chartered special needs consultant, so I have a little bit of a focus in our community here. I play a few different roles in that. I've been also a board member for almost 10 years now. I'm a past president, current treasurer, worn many hats with the organization over the last decade. And most importantly, I'm an autism dad. I have two young daughters. My youngest one is on the autism spectrum and was really my introduction into autism in general. When we got our diagnosis with our younger child, we found the Autism Society and have been forever grateful to what we have learned and been able to partner with them on. So once again, really appreciate you having me on and look forward to covering the topic of the day, plan giving.
Thank you. And the Autism Society has been better because of it. All of us have a connection to autism, right? I've talked about my son on this program many times, and a lot of the people that we speak with, they have a very direct and passionate connection. It makes it for a more impactful role and organization. When we go around the community and do what we do, we speak from the heart. We're doing things to make life better for our kids and the community's kids. So it's in that case, it really doesn't feel like a job or a risk. Oh, I'm volunteering on a board, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's really, at least in the few months I've been here, I can just tell you honestly, even if we were on camera, it's been a transformative experience for me. I thought my public service was done after 25 years in government, but here I am loving every minute of what I'm doing. And it's because of really working with teammates like yourself and our amazing team of staff and our donors who are just amazing. They give so passionately and willingly, and they really know that their money's going to good purpose. They really see the impact of their donations. So plan giving is just another way of helping them thoughtfully and over a longer period of time, support a sustainable period of time, support what we're doing. So I really want to understand a little bit more about how that kind of program works, because it's something we want to focus on in 2025. That's one of our top priorities. We want to make it easy for people to donate. And so take us through that journey.
Very good. Well, I think one of the biggest changes in the planned giving arena happened a few years ago with the advent of the Secure Act in 2020. Really, the main change from a giving standpoint, is that the standard deduction for taxes was raised significantly, where the majority of individuals now no longer itemize taxes, meaning that they're not necessarily getting credit or deductions for their charitable contributions that they make. Thusly, that has diminished the impetus for people to give. Or I guess the incentive, de-incentivize the reason for individuals to give. And the impact of that on organizations like ours is significant. So when you look at overall, on a national landscape, giving dropped about 15% year over year, just because of that tax law change, and that kind of drop in our arena really can cause substantial problems to all the programs that are so important to our community. So it's important to understand that even with these tax law changes, there are strategies that you can use to still take advantage of different benefits for giving. It's just a matter of putting some thought on the front end of it to make sure that you've structured your gifts properly to get the maximum impact that you're looking for. So on that note, what we're going to cover today are some really simple, effective strategies that are available for anyone to use to go ahead and maximize the impact of that gift. Every situation is unique, so I think it's important that that while you're listening to some of the strategies today, that you want to vet them with your attorney or accountant, just to make sure that they fit into your specific situation. And then, of course, I'm always available. I'm sure Shahriar is as well, if you ever have questions in regards to your particular situation. But we'll kind of start off with where most donations start off from, and that's the most popular form of giving now is what we call checkbook philanthropy. And that's where you hear about an event, you hear about a program, and you get your checkbook out and you write it out, or you grab cash out of your wallet and you give it to the organization. And while that's valuable, typically there are much better ways to give money to nonprofits and charities than actually writing checks or giving cash. It's about properly structuring those gifts to get that maximum impact. We're going to cover 3 of the most popular ways to do that today. Know that there's a lot more that's available, but just from a high level, we'll start with these 3. The first one we're going to look at is for retirees and those with IRA, 401k assets that are potentially not don't necessarily need those funds, and also are regularly making other charitable gifts. When you look at retirees, they have the ability, as part of the Secure Act law changes that I mentioned earlier, to make what are called qualified charitable distributions. The acronym for that is QCD. And what those are is it's an ability to withdraw funds from your retirement accounts and give them to a qualified charity with no taxes due on the withdrawals. This is very different than how retirement plans usually work, where every dollar you take out is going to be a dollar of taxable income. This really gives you the ability to utilize these retirement assets with no taxation on it on a personal level. This is very, very powerful because at 73 now, you're required to take funds out of your IRA. And so this is a way where many people are required to take funds out, but they don't necessarily need those funds. This is a very easy way to redirect those funds to maximize the impact. And think about it from a personal level. Instead of giving $100 out of your wallet to someone, you're then giving $100 out of your IRA to someone and not being taxed on it at all. So you're really saving your tax rate on the amount on the amount donated. So this is the most powerful type of donation you can make, meaning that it's a full deduction of income on your taxes. There are caps on it at $100,000 per year per account per donor. But it does meet those RMD requirements, meaning that you're required on minimum distribution requirements, which is that requirement to start distributing at age 73. So if you are an older individual, 70 plus, this should really be your first stop for donations. It's really there's not going to be a more tax efficient way for you to benefit a qualified charity than a qualified charitable distribution. So that would be option number one, and really, once again, to hone it down, it's for retirees. You have to be 70 and a half to make these distributions, and they're capped off at $100,000 per year.
I have a quick question, Dustin. I mean, you would know better, but what percentage of the population has a financial planner? Or are they, I'm trying to go to that point of, you mentioned 73 retirement age. Sometimes people have to make their own financial decisions. Sometimes there are a certain point in life, good for them, where they have a financial planner that can help them. So I'm curious as to how would individuals find this opportunity, or their financial planners typically advise them to go this way?
Yeah, I mean, it is a somewhat new rule, so not all individuals are aware of it. And even if they are aware of it, it's one thing to hear it; it's another thing to truly understand the impact of it.
Right.
And so I think that's where a financial planner can really assist. An individual that's considering this is really trying to show them the difference in what the impact of that dollar is, and really what the immediate tax savings is to that person. I think it definitely helps to have an advisor in this capacity, because they should be well versed in this, but at the same time, it is something that you can do on your own without an advisor. It's just being aware of the option and understanding what the impact of that option is.
Your CPA typically can't help you with this. Your tax accountant.
Your tax accountant actually really should know this. This is now, knowing it and recommending it's a different thing. And I think that's a lot of times the difference between a financial advisor and a tax planner is a tax planner will verify that is a valid strategy. The financial planner will recommend that strategy to take to the accountant. And so I think that's a little bit of the functionality there. But that's also the benefit of the calls that we have like today, where individuals that maybe don't have financial planners can still understand the process and the value of it.
Got it. Fantastic.
Very good. So the second stop is really for non-retirees. It's for those probably the majority of individuals that are going to be giving to nonprofits. I think if you look at the impact of the tax law changes that we talked about earlier, 90% of taxpayers nowadays do not itemize, meaning that only 10% do, meaning that's a very finite amount of individuals that are going to actually deduct charitable donations on their tax forms. One way that you can still make these gifts or donations and get credit for them is by strategically planning how you do it. So one of the ways is through gift bunching. And what this is let's say that you make ongoing gifts of maybe $1,000 a year to certain charities or whatever it be. What you would do if all you gave was $1,000 per year, it's unlikely to put you up in a situation where you can actually itemize versus taking the standard deduction. So what the strategy is to bunch these gifts or these donations into one tax year, meaning that instead of giving $1,000 over the next 7 years, maybe we do $7,000 either this year or you don't give for a couple years, and then you make a larger contribution when you have the ability to. This allows you at times to push yourself up into that itemized area on a given year on purpose, where you can then get credit for your charitable donations without, and still give the same amount to the charity, just over in a different format. And a lot of times that is, like I said, there's really two ways to do this. One is to give those funds now, right up front. The hard part is you have to have 7 years of those gifts to give up front, and a lot of people don't have that. The other option is to once again, not give gifts for a number of years and then to make up for it with a larger one down the line. So between those two items, it gives the majority of individuals the ability to at least plan their donations a little bit better, to where they can potentially get that itemized deduction that gets you the credit for donations. This is it's not there's nothing in addition that you have to form to do this. There's no different accounts. It's just a strategy on giving in and of itself. So there's no different accounts. There's no tax forms that you have to file. There's nothing along those lines that make it more complicated. It's just strictly, bundling your gifts into one versus spreading them out over time. So that's number two. That is really available to anyone that's giving at any time during their life. Even if you are retired and you don't have a retirement account to give out of, this is another way that you can still benefit from that option here. And then really, when we go back to gift bunching in that step one, where maybe you want to front load those gifts into 1 year at the beginning of time, but maybe you don't want to give all those funds to the charity in that 1 year. Maybe you still want to spread it out over time. There is a different vehicle called a donor advised fund. And a donor advised fund is it's an account. It's an account that's set up and managed by the individual making the gift. So they would contribute funds into it. You get an immediate tax deduction for the contributions in, and then you can actually give those funds away over a number of years. So this is a great way to fund a legacy vehicle going forward. A lot of times we'll see individuals fund these accounts with the sale of a vacation home. You can fund it with the sale of a business, something like that, where you're going to have a large tax hit in 1 year and you need a large deduction to offset some of that. This allows you to get that deduction up front, but it doesn't require you to give all those funds away in that first year. So functionally, what happens is the funds go in the donor advised fund. You can actually keep them invested. Any returns, those funds grow tax free for any beneficiaries, and then the donor is able to recommend grants to actually go out to any of the qualified charities that they support. What's really powerful about this vehicle is that it really can set up a generational giving vehicle for families, where if we have a lot of clients that want to instill the values of giving in their children and grandchildren, but they're not sure how to coach them up on how to do it, how to understand what the impact is. This is a great way to not only fund the future gifts for them, but also it gives them an ability to learn over time on how to support organizations that are important to them. And through this process, it really allows the family to coach up those younger generations on both the values of giving and also just carrying on the family legacy of giving in general.
Well, you touched on the family legacy, and you know what? Everything I've learned before my son about giving is from my dad. When I was younger, I remember back then we didn't have these sophisticated tax, strategies. It was literally taking food to people. And I just remember, and this is just a childhood memory, when I was 5 or 6, that we used to go to a bunch of people's homes. And at that height, I only saw these bags of groceries my dad had in his hand. And I always thought we were related to these people, because we saw them so often. We would go there with stuff, and they used kind of a very affectionate word to refer to my dad, as brother, whatever, uncle, something like that. So I thought we were all related back then. We weren't. These were just families that my dad adopted without a planned giving program that he adopted. And to this day, they call him, uncle or brother or whatever. And these are just families that we knew of in our neighborhood that needed help. So I want to say that legacy is really important because it's everything you leave to your next generation, your kid, isn't just money. It's a culture of giving. It's a social value that you've recognized that, hey, this is something. This is who we are. At some point, our days will be numbered on this earth, but what you leave behind and the impact you have in the community, that's what stays. And so that's, you kind of also obviously explained in a very sophisticated, very clear way, the tax strategies that help you extend that culture and social value of giving, which is awesome, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of the most important things you can pass down generation to generation is those values, those family values. And I think, there's few better ways to do it than to open up the younger generation's mind to impacting others, in a positive way. And this is a great way to do so, with tax benefits on the front end and the back end, and the ability to give funds for an extended period of time with very little maintenance, very little cost to do so, and really the ability to make a true impact.
I love it. And, everything that you touched on is on our website. We have if you go to autismsociety.org and click donate in the top right, you'll see all the different ways you can give, and planned giving is there. There is donor advised funds. There's a little information there. And of course, information on how to reach Dustin. I'll just tell you his email, dustin.tracy@ubs.com. Or you can certainly reach out to me, Shahriar. It's a longer email. I won't go into it, but start with Dustin. But going to our website and asking these questions, Dustin is available to you as a donor. So am I. Whatever we can do to create a program that works for you, your family, your organization, your trust, your foundation, those are all things we're here for. And I tell you, we get donations and support from all over the country, not just San Diego. There are foundations and trusts and organizations all over the country that, of course, they have a connection to San Diego for some way. They're a relative, a family, a friend. But it's not a bad place to be connected to. And you don't necessarily obviously have to have a connection to autism in and of itself. A lot of our donors don't have a personal connection like, let's say, Dustin and I do. They simply want to have an impact in their community. And they know that this is a well-run organization. It has a long history of effectiveness in our region. And we're able to change lives. If you just come to any of our events, our support groups, our dadvocate groups, we have other groups, we have pool parties, we have dance parties. We create what I call judgment-free social and recreational activities that are unique. Nobody does what the Autism Society does in San Diego. We're unique in that way. And we've been at it for over 40, 50 years. Well, before me and Dustin's time, we are the benefactors of all that hard work of our predecessors. But we're here to help make it easier for the next generation of givers and donors. So with that, Dustin, any final thoughts to sign off?
No, I think you mentioned it well. Just know I'm available if you have any questions, or scenarios you want to run through past me. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you so much, Dustin Tracy, for joining us on autismspa.com. This video will also be on, obviously, YouTube, various places where you get your podcast, and on our website, autismspa.com, sponsored by the Autism Society of San Diego. Thanks a million, Dustin. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.